Thank you, madam. So with the esteemed panel here and the delegates here, I would like to say that this ARC PG program which we conducted had an initial TRP rate of around 900 views. And still, I am very surprised that when it is nearing 9 o'clock, still we have more than 700 postgraduates attending this in the various YouTube as well as the web link as well as on the Facebook. So thank you, ARC, AIOS. Thank you, Chitra madam, for this opportunity. I'll quickly run through the bionic eye. The reason this topic is chosen is it's a frequently asked question nowadays. Now you can see here I have marked it. It's a bionic eye. What are the principles of its working? Enumerates its indication. And in 2019, they have directly asked what is Argus 2 implant, its indication, success in clinical cases. So yes, what is bionic eye? Bionic eye is nothing but the bioelectronic eye. So it's an electronic device which replaces the functionality of the part of the retina. So you should know what are the prostheses which are going on. There is retinal prosthesis, which I'll be explaining it to you. There is also a lot of trials being done on optic nerve prosthesis, cortical prosthesis, which are still in the experimental stage. So this is the principal signal pathway, which all the postgraduates have to know that when the light falls, it is captured by the incident light, that is the photoreceptor cells. And from there, it is passed on to the horizontal cells, bipolar cells, amacrine, ganglion, and then through the optic nerve, and then passes on to the brain. So where do we use these artificial implants? Basically, it's now being tested and it's now being treated for the patients who are blind from outer retinal degeneration. If you see the schematic diagram, when it is placed on the surface of the retina, it's called as an epiretinal implant, and it is inserted in the neurosensory area, which is called as the subretinal implants. So how does the RPE blind progress? Whatever might be the stages, that is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, where the legal blindness by age 40, complete blindness stage 4. But unfortunately, there is still no very definitive treatment. And whatever might be the research therapeutic strategy, like repairing the genes, slowing the disease, and even regenerating the photoreceptors. And basically now we are working on the bypassing the retina. So what are the indications for the Argus 2? Because Argus 2, I'll be explaining, it's the first US FDA approved artificial retina. So I'm explaining about the Argus 2 first. So there has to be a severe profound outer retinal degeneration, basically in cases of RP, and in few cases of AMD also this has been implanted. Some residual light perception has to be there in that patient, and previous history of useful vision has to be there. It cannot be done in a congenitally blind patient. So these are the various features. There you can see a Oakley glass, the video processing unit, which is called as the external unit. And then you have the internal unit where you have the electronic case, the receiving coil, the electrode array, which consists around 63 microelectrodes. So let's look into this
in Second Sight's
animation.
Argus 2 retinal prosthesis system. A miniature video camera in the eyeglasses captures the scene.
So you can see this is the glass, which is the Oakley glass, like how you have the Polaroid glass, the Ray-Ban glass and everything. It's an Oakley company which uses these glasses, and then it's a small miniature camera is used which captures and it passes the rays to the video processing unit. It gets amplified and comes back to the telemetric coil. Through the telemetric coil, these rays are transferred inside the eye with the help of the Bluetooth or the radio frequency.
And corresponding signals sent to the array, which emit small pulses of electricity.
So these are the small micro electrodes which get stimulated, which tries to stimulate the remaining neurons of the retina, which then pass the optic nerve, and then the brain tries to visualize these impulses. So how does it work? This is also the question have been asked on how these artificial retina works. So let's go quickly. As we all know, that some of the ionic channels open or close depending on the voltage gradient across the membrane, right? So these ionic channels allow the flow of the ions in the membrane, which causes the action potential to be generated. So let's look at this figure. If you look at the threshold, it is minus 70 MV, that is millivolt. And when the sodium tries to enter into the channel, the voltage tries to go in. And when it reaches plus 40, that is what is the action potential generated from minus 70 to plus 40. And then the sodium ceases, the potassium tries to continues to leave out of the cell. And then again, the resting potential falls down, which is called as a repolarization. So the normal neuronal function is achieved by the action potential by integrating the synaptic current. So these synaptic currents change the potentials across the membrane, and that triggers the depolarization that opens up the sodium channels. So how does these artificial retina works? They basically try to give an extracellular stimulation by the electric field around the electrode. So that controls the ionic channels to open and close these gates. So when it opens, the sodium again enters into the cell, the action potential gets depolarized, and then that causes an impulse to get generated, and then it passes on through the various remaining cells or the remaining neurons of the retina. So what are the key surgical steps here? You can see this implant has to be placed in between the arcades, and as per the diagram shown here, and there should be avoid any twist or tilt in the cable. So let's look into this first surgery which we did, and I'm happy to be a part of these first two surgeries. Now you can see here, just like how we do the scleral buckling, we are hooking the muscle, placing these external part of the implant, that is the electronic coil, in the supratemporal aspect, and then tying the band with a Watt's-case sleeve. And now these are called as the suture tabs, which you are trying to secure it in the supratemporal aspect. And this is the electrode array with the 60 microelectrodes. Here we are using the chandelier illumination to perform the vitrectomy. The PVD has to be induced, and any epiretinal membrane has to be removed because later on it might shift the implant. So implant has to be located at certain degree. So with the epiretinal membrane growing in, that might cause a proliferation over the membrane and try to disturb its location. So epiretinal membrane. So ILM has proved there's no use of peeling ILM. So here you can see we made a large sclerotomy port of nearly around 5 to 5.5 mm, and slowly try to push this microelectrode array, which consists of 60 microelectrodes, into the vitreous cavity. You can see these forceps are actually silicon tipped forceps, not the metal forceps. The metal forceps damage these wires. They are very, very delicate. Slowly try to shift it inside the vitreous cavity. And once it sits on the retina, now you can, we are just trying to suture it, make it watertight. And there are a lot of engineers around us who will be telling us at what location it has to be done, 5 degrees to the right, 2 degrees to the left. And once the location is finalized by these engineers, with the help of the sensors which they have us around, you screw it. That is, it is nothing but the tacks, like the screws. What we use it is as a tacks. It's a 19 gauge tacks, which we try to knuckle it, fix it. It crosses the retina, pierces the choroid, and sits on the sclera. We get a tucking sound, we feel it, and that is when it is stuck in the sclera. Remove all the ports, make sure it is watertight, and to avoid conjunctival erosion, we place what is called as the tutoplast, that we then close the peritomy. So this is a few of the snaps I just wanted to show, and I'm really thankful for one of my mentor, Dr. Robert Devaney, who has conducted more than 15 artificial retinal implants. And what are the benefits of these implants? It helps in object detection, direction of the motion, orientation and mobility, and of course the little part of visual acuity, which I'll be coming later. So what are the features of this implant? There's the edge enhancement, contrast enhancement, and it has an individually programmable electrodes. So what's the visual acuity? The best reported visual acuity is just 20 by 1000. And what's the normal vision? 20/20. So still we are far away, but yes, there is an answer to something. So what's the field of view? The field of view, the Argus sends to around 20 degrees because it's an epiretinal, and the subretinal implants give a 15-degree field of view. And more than actually 100,000 pixels are actually required for the useful vision. But here we have only 60 microelectrodes. The size of the electrodes is also a challenge, because if we increase the electrode, the size increases. So still they are trying to find out how to increase these microelectrodes so that we can try to restore a normal vision. So what are the future? The zoom function will be incorporated. The color vision, they are trying to think about it. And Argus 3 is probably going to come very soon with more than 200 electrodes. And he's the man which we all are. Here is answerable is Dr. Mark Humayun, who is the father of this artificial retina and the first US FDA approved bionic eye. So what are the other technologies applied? It's the MIT Harvard device, Mark, Argus 2, holographic, and the semiconductive polymers, which are also being tried and tested now. So this is a very important slide. You can take a screenshot of it. It's the Argus 2, which I've already explained. IMI GmbH learning prosthesis, EpiRet 3, artificial silicon retina. These 4 have already completed the human trials, whereas the Alpha IMS, the Bionic Vision Australia, and the Nidec Visual Prosthesis, they are already undergoing the trials. Whereas the Boston Retinal Implant, the Photovoltaic Retinal Prosthesis, and the Liquid Crystal Prosthesis, which we call it as LCP, which is still under the animal trial, which soon can come to the human trial. So these are the various artificial retinas which are being used. I have already said MIT Harvard device similarly works almost similar to the epiretinal implants. Holographic technology is another thing. If you mention it, you will get more marks. It is nothing but the basic idea on the optogenetics. So what is optogenetics? It is to take the light sensitive protein from another organism, typically from an algae or a bacteria, and insert it into the target cell that photosensitizes the cell. So that is nothing but called as the holographic technology. This is about the retinal implant AG Germany, which is also very popular. But the only thing is this surgery requires 8 hours, and you have to make a burr hole in the brain and then enter into the suprachoroidal route, which is very challenging, and it is not very much replicable. So lastly coming is the nanoretina. That is the second bionic implant developed by the nanoretina. It costs less as compared to the Argus 2. The Argus 2 cost around $144,000 US, nearing around 80 to 90 lakhs. And the BioRetina costs little less. The operation takes around only 30 minutes and can be performed even under local anesthesia. So with this, I come to the conclusion in 11 minutes. And I once again thank the ARC and the AIOS for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.